So I'm here with Dee Dee Dynamite. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. What's up, everybody? My name is Dee Dee Dynamite. I used to skate here in El Paso. And do I say that too?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yes, I was a skater for a league in El Paso, Las Cruces, and Juarez, Chihuahua.
Nice. And when did you fall head over skates for roller derby?
I wish I could say what day it was, but I know I was probably like 18, 19, and I saw it flipping through channels. I don't really have no idea how, where, what channel was showing a derby game, but I just saw people on skates and hitting each other, and I was like, ooh, that looks like fun.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it, really. And then I looked for league online. I must have been 19 then because it's like 2009. So I Googled it and there was a league here in El Paso, and I still didn't join then, but that's how I found Derby.
Yeah, that's when we started in 2009. Well,
Yeah.
2008, and we had our
Right.
first bout. Yeah, yeah, and we had our first bout
Uh-huh.
in 2009. And then we've been we've been around since, which is cool, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, how did your first date with Derby go? Whether it be your first practice or your first bout or both?
I remember one practice. Well, I was very scared, first of all. But I remember one day that we were in a league practice and I saw Speeding Beauty, Bianca. She was like running on her toe stops, and I just never seen anybody be so like flawless on skates. And I was like, wow, I want to do that. It was
Mm,
just very exciting to me because I'd never was into sports growing up. I never did any sports actually. So this was fun because it seemed something that I could potentially do, like a challenge that I could get into. So I'd say like the first practices that I went to that I realized like, wow, that is things that I want to do. And I feel like I could do them because I felt like I would see so many people start not knowing a lot and then getting super amazing on their skill. So it gave me hope.
absolutely. Yeah, there's people that started that never have skated in their life. So you're like, well, at least I can skate, so I'm sure I can do some other stuff.
Mhm.
What were you looking for in Derby?
You know what? First of all, I wanted to hit people. Looking for, I guess, like I said, I never really knew what I was missing, honestly. So I wasn't really looking for anything other than release my aggression, I guess. Because growing up, I was very I don't want to say violent. That sounds bad, but more like if somebody somebody in school would tease me, mainly guys. Um, I would kind of beat them up. So
Yeah,
it was fun for me. Like I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna like make you bleed or anything, but it was just like fun play. So it was. I mean, if it's a sport, it's okay, right? So that just looks fun to me. But what I gained from Derby was way more than I ever expected, to be honest.
right. Yeah, no, you were aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't
Not enough to
aggressive,
be
but I got aggressive. Huh?
not enough to be like a bully, but if I
Yeah,
got
just
bullied, then I
aggressive.
would do something about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And how did you find your alter ego?
Yeah, it took me a minute. I always knew I wanted Dee Dee in my name because I love the Ramones, and Dee Dee Ramone was one of my favorites. and my name's Denise. So it's like, oh, Dee 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 Dee, right? And then the other word just kind of came about from this person that I know that we will not talk about. But I don't know. I found it more, I would say, on the track when at the moment where I stopped caring that people were looking at me because that was a big stressor. Just knowing that you're like just being watched and that, and then of course being in it too, it was very nerve-wracking. So at the moment that I felt free and I felt like I could do this and I don't care who's watching, I feel like that's when I found more of that side of me that was like more empowering, I guess.
Mm. Did you ever feel like you lost Dee Dee Dynamite? And if so, how did you find her again?
Yes and no. Well, I guess maybe. Well, so there was a point in my derby career about 2 years ago that I fractured my ankle. So definitely was a time to be very passive, I guess, to put it that way, like where it wasn't time for me to do stuff. And I feel like that's more like Dee Dee Dynamite. It's like, I'm gonna conquer the world type thing. Like, let's do stuff. Let's, like I said, like let's work on stuff. And I was just more I was forced to lay down and just shut up, like chill for a while, just listen. So I feel that I lost her in that sense, that I just really wasn't a time for me to be in that role. And I was starting to get in touch with that after, being injured and everything, when I went back to the gym. And I that's where I feel, I guess I call upon this side of me, is like, this is the time to pull your force into something like physical, and that I can, that I can see. And it's in situations like working out or, other stuff like work, of course. But mainly that's where I feel more powerful, when it's like a physical thing. And that's when I feel more connected to that side of me, I guess.
And how does derby make you feel?
Derby, very empowered, like anything is possible, like also very challenged. And I love to grow as a person. And of course, when you have like a physical goal, it's great too, because it keeps you, wanting to be, personally, it keeps me wanting to be healthy or make healthier choices, and, stay in that. I got lost. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah, for sure. We talked about you hurting your ankle. My next question is, have you ever had any derby injuries? Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. I've had I guess that one was the major one. There was another time where I fell and I guess hyperextended my wrist. I had like fluid right here where you bend it. So like my mobility went from a regular hand to like this. So that sucked, and that took like about a year to heal. So I'm sure it took that long too, because I was doing hair at the time. So I went back to work like 2 weeks after. So I was like, using blow dryers and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that was one of the injury before I fractured my ankle, and that took a few months to heal. But those are the only ones I'd say, other than a bunch of bruises and stuff. That's the normal. That was it, for injuries.
And has roller derby ever broken your heart?
I wouldn't say roller derby, the sport roller derby, but the league that I skated with, did more of the heartbreaking, I guess. So yeah, it was like heartbreaking, but at the same time, it was kind of a really good new or opportunity for me to try new things. So it's all
Right.
good.
Endings are just beginnings, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Have you and roller derby ever broken up?
Yes, I feel like we're broken up right now. I mean, obviously everyone is, but forcibly. But I mainly because I. It's just funny how things work out. But I was about to join Derby again because I had decided that I didn't want to go back after my injury. And then I went to one practice and I had so much fun, and I was like, okay, this is for me. You know, I have to do this. So then I decided to go back, and that was last year and like February maybe that I decided to go back. So I started to go back to practices, and then I tried out for a travel team and everything was going great. And then the whole pandemic started, and well, that's still not a possibility. But now that I see it, things are kind of coming back, and I just had a lot of time to think. I'm sure a lot of us have, but I just don't feel like I am wanting to commit to Derby right now. So yes, we're on a break, an extended break.
Yeah, derby always seems to woo us back, huh? That
Yeah, it's the sexy ways, you just
for sure
want
makes you feel so good about yourself.
yeah, that ego
And
boost, and I'm like, ooh, I feel good.
yeah, for sure. I'm in the same boat too. I'm doing some inner healing work also, and I feel like although derby helped me in so many ways, one of the things that I was talking to some of my um, holistic friends was that we cover pain with different pain. And so it hurt so good, but it was also like a positive thing. But at the same time, was I just masking my pain with another kind of pain? And is my body really enjoying that kind of pain? And I'm going to try and go back, but this time I'm actually going to listen to myself instead of tell myself, this is good. This is a good pain. It's not,
Right.
and it did help me get through a lot, but I might just be in a different place right now.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as you grow older, you notice like all the things that you didn't get to because you were committed to like something like roller derby that, it takes maybe 4 to 5 nights a week out of your schedule. It takes a lot of, events and sponsorship events and just energy out of you, and you just don't have time, or you don't want to even try to do other things. And I feel like now I see all the other hobbies that I want to get into and create for my life, and derby has been great. And I feel like it's important to honor the face in your life, and definitely derby gave me a lot. It's been awesome, and I love skating, and I'm still going to incorporate that in my life, but
Absolutely.
in a different way.
Same, same. I'm totally about going to the parks now because that's also like
Yeah.
when I transitioned into when me and Derby had broken up another time and I started racing. I enjoyed that, but it was also something that I can train on my own time. I didn't have to make practices. I didn't have to do a lot of the other things. And so I think with park skating as well, you can go on your own time and you can work as long as or as short. I will always want the community of roller derby, and I know like I'll always have my skating family there, but I'm just gonna like take it one day at a time and see what happens.
Yeah, that's what I like about that part of the skate park is the freedom. That, hey, if I want to go and skate for a while, like for 10 minutes, I can do that, and I can leave and do whatever I want. And like I said, derby is awesome. I have a lot of fun. Have had so many good experiences skating. but at the same time feel like I like to right now I want to put the commitment that I had for derby on other things that I want to learn. And the cool thing about derby is it's always going to be there, you know, it'll always be there for us. So if I feel like going back later, we can do that too, you know, so that's pretty cool.
Exactly. So we talk about like this obsession that we get with roller derby, and it grows. Was there ever a time that you can remember where it was completely out of balance? And if so, how have you managed it since then?
Yes, that's a great question. I feel like when I broke my ankle is exactly when that was going on, because I was doing a lot. I was working 2 jobs, part-time jobs, and I was skating with Las Cruces and Juarez. So I had taken on this commitment of like, I'm gonna be in these 2 leagues because they're awesome, and I want to experience, you know, both sides of the traveling with this team and all those fun parts, which were great. But all I was just focusing on was derby and my jobs, right? And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, and that the day that I had the bout, that the incident happened, whatever. I wanted to go to a show. There was like a festival or something that day that I want to go to. So I already had like the energy of like, I have to do this right now, and I want to be somewhere else. We just came back from a tournament, and then we have another one in 2 weeks, and I don't want to do this because this is a home. It was a home game, so I was already kind of like feeling like I had so much to do that I didn't want to be there, and that's when the magic happened with breaking my ankle and everything. So I feel like that's the moment where the universe was like, chill out. You know, you want time, so make time. Like, you have to make time. You're fucked. You know, pretty much. Yeah. Sorry, but
it's a derby podcast.
Right. Yeah, so that was a moment that that happened, and the way that I have managed it is that I'm open. You know, I'm open to take responsibility, because the moment that happened, like, I wasn't mad. I was more frustrated because I wanted to keep playing. But other than that, I wasn't mad at the girl that hit me, that made it happen. Like, I wasn't mad at like anybody, even myself, because I just knew that was for a reason, you know, that I needed to go through that for a reason. And I needed to figure out, you know, what is important in my life and what priorities had to change at that time of my life.
Exactly. That's beautiful. I wish my cat wouldn't have been jumping in the background. I'm so sorry. Let me go move her, because that was such a powerful question, like, answer, and like it just took away everything. But it didn't take away everything.
That's gonna be awesome.
Okay.
Oh my God, you're so big.
I'm just here to fuck shit up. I just want to throw all this shit down. And we go put her away really quick.
Okay.
I've noticed that happens, like, universe will give us that break that we need, even if we're not asking for it, but we kind of are at the same time, when this passion becomes like something we have to do instead of something we get to do. Then we should kind of like take a step back and be like, why am I doing it? Like, I feel like everything that we do, including like work, and should be things that we get to do. But once they become things that we have to do, then it's a chore, then it's even a burden, you know what I mean? And it's like, when did this like love that I had when I was super giddy and like I wanted to do what I saw other people doing, become that, damn, another bout. Like, how many are we gonna have this season? And then it would even bother me. Like, it wouldn't bother me, but it was like a trip when I would see girls like, or other people who did derby that couldn't get enough of it. I would even think to myself, like, don't you have other things to do? Like, but I remember when I was all about it too, where that was my thing. Like, that was my whole thing, nothing else mattered. And I made people feel that way. Like, well, I have practice. And that was that derby was my main, that's my main right there. And now, derby's not my main, there's other things that are going on, but I still love it. It's just, I guess I'm just, I don't know. It's like, we're like an old married couple, like I say in my book, it's not that beginning, beginning puppy love that I have. It's like, yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there when I get there, all right?
Yeah. And that's how you know that something is missing, as far as, like you said, like there's an imbalance happening in our life, that we are not seeing it as like a treat now, like you said. It's like, oh, I have to. But that's, I guess that to me, that's kind of like the gauge of how happy are you with anything, really. But with derby, right. Maybe I need a break. Maybe I need a class. Maybe I need to get inspired or listen to a cool podcast like this one.
Yeah.
Something to get into it again and see why you love it. Or maybe take a break and appreciate it that way, because you have it at that time, right? So
yeah, no, you're right. It's like eating chocolate. It's great when you get to eat chocolate, but sometimes if that's all you're doing, if that's all you're eating, it's not great anymore. It makes, you're just kind of like even grossed out. Yeah. A lot of chocolate. I love chocolate, but like really, I can't do this much chocolate anymore. But that's, that's having boundaries, and then also not people pleasing by like, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll be on this committee, I'll flyer, give me more posters. And it's great when people are on fire, but after a while, it just gets to be a lot. And I love when you have leaders who will be like, we appreciate your enthusiasm, but if this ever gets to be too much for you, let us know, because we know that it can get potentially heavy, and that you have a family, and that you have a job, and that you have other things that you might want to do. And at the time you're like, no, give me more. But there's people that will also take advantage of that situation and be like, I'm over it, but she's not. So give her all the posters, and you don't, So, yeah. There's different kinds of leadership, and we appreciate those good leaders out there that take care of their leaders.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out to all those cool peeps that really do it with love.
Amen, sister. So on that topic, how do you feel about the derby community or expanded family?
Good. I love it. It's crazy how fast I just had instant friends, and I joined derby, and that was really awesome, because I actually moved here from Juarez. I grew up in Juarez. I grew up in Mexico. We're on the border. For the friends that don't know where we're at, we're in a border town. So I grew up my whole life in Juarez, and I knew I would move here eventually. Didn't know how I was going to do it, but I did that. And when I moved here, I only knew my coworkers, and I had some cool friends there, but I guess derby just expanded my world, and it's given me so much. Like I said, like just feeling more confident, like feeling like I'll also, like I mentioned earlier, I used to, have like a lot of guy friends, like the ones that I would fight with, because they were
Mm-hmm.
family fights. They were my buddies, but I never really had an easy time making girlfriends, and I think that's
Mm-hmm.
pretty common with all people that
Mm-hmm.
spoken to you before too. And I had that issue, so I was very, I'm still kind of a shy person. Um, so joining Derby really gave me so much as far as my, like I said, like my life was like expanded. Now I know all these cool people, and I could potentially know more people just because of it, because of the things that you get to do during
Mm-hmm.
the experience of, being a derby athlete.
Yeah. And although derby players are the same in so many ways, they're not in so many ways. So you meet like all sorts of people, and it becomes like anything you need is in your derby family. We have realtors, we have hairdressers, we have massage therapists, we have teachers, anything like, the spectrum is broad. We're all rambunctious, and we're not afraid to, like, we're not afraid to be in a full contact sport with each other. But yeah, if you need anything, it's like, it's like Google. You just ask, like, who here does this? And somebody on the chat will be like, I got you. I can help you with that. And it's really cool. So if you don't know yet, I've played with Dee Dee before for many years and know her on different levels in and out of roller derby. And I remember I was on a break while Dee Dee started derby, and when I came back, she was just this like bomb. So Dynamite went like well with her, and she hit like so hard, and I hated her on the track, but I loved her off the track. But like it was almost like you felt like she had a personal vendetta against you, and she didn't care. Like she didn't, like she just hit anybody that she needed to like did her job, and like with no fucks given, you know what I mean? Like, and it was beautiful. Like, when I grow up, I want to be a blocker like Dee Dee, and she works on with me. It's amazing. And she's very hardcore. Yeah, she would just like take that step and it'd be like, man, I love that girl because she's a badass, but I also hate taking her hits.
Well, thank you for the compliments. But yeah, so you can tell I had a lot of energy built up.
Yeah, and then I saw her evolve from the girl that didn't care and would hit you whether you liked her or not. She didn't care. She doesn't still, but at the same time, it's but she walks with more love.
I don't do it anymore, but I was more considerate of newer skaters.
Were you?
At the end. I'm sorry.
No, I was the same though.
That's how I learned, and then it's like your mom, when they do some things and you're like, Mom, why would you teach me this? And it's like, well, that's how I learned. That's kind of what I had, so.
Right. No, I remember joining El Paso Roller Derby and Chinga being there. And I was new to the league, and it was about day. And she was like, can somebody do braids in my hair? And I was like, I'll do them because like I already knew her. And then I'm braiding her hair, and she starts saying, do you remember, Harley, when I started practicing? And she said something about me hitting her and somebody telling me, hey, she's fresh meat or something like that. And I said, well, then how's she going to learn? And like everybody in the locker room got quiet, and they're mostly people that I haven't skated with. And I'm thinking like, damn, you know what I mean? Like that was years ago, but like she remembered me like that. And I was like, well, did that help you? And she was like, well, I'm still here. And I was like, cool. I didn't know what to, like, that's where, yeah, like me starting in the time that there was no fresh meat, we were all fresh meat. We started the league. I never was like fresh meat. There were like 5 of us, and we were all just learning. And the only one who wasn't fresh meat was Frida Kruger, Terry, which I've had on the show in the past. If you want to watch her episode, please do. She's amazing. And, so she was beating us all up, and she was like in dodgeball where, how he starts throwing, have you seen the movie Dodgeball? Yeah. When he throws the wrenches and he's well, Terry would literally throw, like, so we could avoid things and be more agile. She would throw like pads or socks or like anything. And we were like falling all over the place. We had our own like boot camp fresh meat, but we weren't like, so it was different. It was different because we all started around the same time. If anything, there were girls that started maybe a few weeks before I did, but we were all learning. There were no teams. It was just us, from scratch. And so, I wasn't a fresh meat coach. I just wasn't. I didn't know. I wasn't fresh meat coached, period. So I was aggressive as well. And I had my own issues that I was working through. But when I did see Dee Dee again, God, I think I started reffing and then came back again because I was in recovery, which was a beautiful thing. I always mention that because it's okay to take a break for yourself. It really is. And what's it called? She was different. And she was lighter, like energy wise, and she was teaching and she loved it. You could tell. And I think at the time we were being coached by other people, or we weren't at the, I don't know. I don't remember. I was going through some rough times, but it's beautiful. And her Instagram is Dee Dee Evolved, right?
Evolves. Yeah.
Evolves. Dee Dee evolves, and she does. It's beautiful, and it's right. It's spot on. And I just had to take a moment out to explain our friendship and say what you're not going to. And I wish I knew about all of my Derby people that are on the show, a little bit more insight on you. And I'm sorry that I don't, but I hope I asked the right questions so that you can convey your story as best as possible. And you ready for the next question?
That's hit me.
So did we talk? Yes, we said that. Okay. I will edit that part. Okay. So we talked about what you were looking for, and then you mentioned, it was just mostly you wanted to try Derby, and then you said, but you found so much more. And I was hoping you wouldn't elaborate, because here and now is where I'm going to ask you, what did you find?
Well, many things. So I can still, no worries. I got plenty. But
good.
Mainly, I feel like I found, I guess the way I needed to find my true self. Like getting to know what I like as far as physical activity. I think that's something so important that it wasn't important. It wasn't important to me. I never cared to do anything as far as workout goes. So it gave me something to motivate me with, something to work towards, something to challenge me as far as like physically, but also it gave me like a new way of thinking, a new way to live. I didn't know how to be confident and at that time, and getting over the fear of people looking at me while I do something it really made me more fearless. And then I gained a lot of experiences and then met so many cool people. And I got to like also different cultures. Like I said, we live in the border town, so I got to experience the roller derby life in like how it is in Mexico and how it is here. And I don't know. I mean, I can go on and on about how many good things derby brought into my life. But mainly it's like I can, if I can put in one word, expansion. Like I expanded myself, my world, my mind, my social life, my heart, you know, like I had to grow to like put in all these cool people and that were not my teammates, my league mates, my everything, you know, like everyone that was around, and all again, like the experiences and the experience with myself, knowing that I could let go and try something that I never thought I would do.
Tell me more about that, like about the differences between the leagues here in El Paso and in Juarez, because we're so close but yet so far, you know? And I'm always super intrigued that I live on a border city. And like I said it in the last interview with Caroña, that you can literally be on the freeway, just look over and you think it's still a part of El Paso, but it's Juarez. Like I don't have a picture of that. Maybe I'll take one so that people can see how very close we are. You know, there's different borders that we can cross over on here. One very close, and there's not a wall. There's a big fence.
Yeah, that's a fence.
There's a big fence, but you know, and you know, I go and I love to have breakfast next door, but it's like a whole other country. It's not, you know, it's not like just going to another, it's like going to another city, but you do have to just cross the border, and it's nice. It's a privilege, I believe, to be able to live here in El Paso and right next to Juarez. We call it our sister city.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it's a privilege. We can do so many things over there that would cost a lot more, and with like amazing professionals, you know what I mean? Like the quality doesn't change just because it's in Mexico. It's even
sometimes
better.
I think it even improves. That's exactly what I said. It's probably even, it's kind of better.
Yeah, and some things it's like, wow, like this is 1,000 times cheaper here, and it's like way better. It's crazy. Anyway, that's another subject.
But you want to know more, and then you just
we'll talk
do a whole other interview on that.
Yeah, but so I guess one of the biggest things I can say is the comfortability, because I went from with the skating here. I started here in El Paso with a league that had a venue. It was a bar with there was obstacles and whatnot, but that's a place where we skated mostly for league practice, for the games, for the bouts, for sometimes events. We would have events there. And that's how I did my first few years of derby. I want to say 6 years. So then going from that, and then I started with Juarez after that, and those girls they're amazing because they're so loyal to like, this is the time we're always meet here. Like, and it was always the same number of girls. It wasn't a lot, but they were always there, and it was always at a park. There was no venue, no anything really. We didn't really even have equipment. Like the girls would help each other out, but we didn't really have like sometimes cones and things like that. You know what I mean? Like we would try to pitch in, but everything you would pay for everything. You pay for your travel, you pay for your jersey, and sometimes we would get a place if they allowed us. But most of our like home bouts and stuff, that when I was there, because it didn't start like that, it was at a park. everything was at a park. So it was different, it's like you go from having an actual place and not having anything at all ever until you get to go and do play out of town. And then there it would be kind of be the same thing. Rarely, sometimes it would be indoors, but most of the times it was outdoors.
I remember supporting and buying some really amazing playing cards that one of your teammates had made, and I bought like $20. They were $5 each, I want to say, and she had printed and cut them out herself, and they were in a cool little package. As a matter of fact, I might know where they are. Let me check.
Oh, nice. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, I wonder, I don't know where they're at. Oh, I have mine too.
Got them.
I have them.
Oh! And so she
start that over.
Yes, she had she packaged them, and please, if even please let me know if your league. We all have merch. All Star Juarez, and all the cards are wheels. They have see how cute those are. Hey, where we go? You got your Joker, and she did the illustration too, right? Everything.
I'm not exactly sure, to be quite honest. But yeah, those were made by a teammate. Her name is Zini. Que pedo? She's awesome. She would make a lot of, because she I believe she's a graphic designer, or she works in that industry. So she printed out her shirts, not the jerseys, but the ones for merch. She would do that. The stickers. We had somebody made buttons, like pins. So that really helps.
Oh, but I know we have a website, El Paso Derby.com. I'm sure you can order even masks and all that we came out with. So if that's your thing, I know there's a thing.
A way to help. So
yes.
And better when you get cool stuff. So
absolutely, I've had these are one of the coolest decks of cards that I own.
Yeah.
And so you had to pay for all your travel. I know a lot of leagues. We're lucky that some things we don't have to pay for and some that we do. And if we had to, we would. So what are the places that you travel to?
Okay, so with Juarez, I got to go to Guadalajara a few times. I don't know why I said it weird. Guadalajara. Monterrey, I believe. We played nationals in Ciudad de Mexico and Chihuahua. We also played in Chihuahua. That was one season. The next one, I didn't get to start the next one, but yeah, those were the spots we got to go to. I really love Guadalajara. Well, I love visiting there anyway, but also the team and the people and everything. Everyone's awesome, but those are the ones that I remember most of the Guadalajara trips.
So, what was your worst derby moment?
Worst derby moment. I think that's hardest to put what's good and bad, because I feel like the worst moments were the best moments. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think the worst was going through that whole drama with the league that I started with, and like I said, there was a breakup there in the league. But it was also the best because it really pushed me to get out of my comfort zone, and now I know what my worst, I guess it is. So when I went from skating with El Paso to skating with Juarez, in El Paso, I went at toot my own horn, but I was considered one of the best skaters in the league. And when I went to Juarez, I was literally the worst. I was the worst skater in that team, and I felt that way. So I would say that was like one of the worst moments when you realize that, man, okay, I'm really bad at this, and I have to start from scratch. And that's what it was. I went from a renegade league that was pretty unorthodox in the way that they did things to like a Wiftida league, more, official, professional, like, it was just way different. Mm-hmm. So that was a big adjustment for me.
I understand that. I had to learn Wiftida also. It's like put me in fresh meat. And just because I could pass assessments because I could skate, like, and I could stop and I could do, I was like, but I could do my laps or whatever. It was not the same. I was like, but we're not the same.
There's just so many rules that you never considered in the past. It was different because there were so many rules that now I had to know that in the past weren't like, I didn't really know all the rules before. Not that I don't think you ever know the rules, but we went from, it seemed to me like in the league that we started, they would make rules on the fly sometimes, or make them like go away. I don't know. But so then from that to being professional about it, to knowing rules, to having to read and pass like an actual written test sometimes, and doing it and everything, it was a hell of an adjustment for sure.
Yeah. No, I understand that completely. We played in the same league. And I felt like after 10 years, I didn't know how to play roller derby. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's one of those things too that you learn it one way and it's like you have to relearn. So it's hard to remove all the things that you already knew. I think it's harder for somebody that already started doing it one way, and then you have to like erase that and start over. Than if you just go in fresh, and if you're fresh, like, oh, okay, this is how I'm building it, so it makes sense to me. So it was like, I think a little bit harder in that way, that I really had to get it in there, and all the bad habits that I had to get them out of me.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's like I already had so many bad habits doing it one way, and then making it like a rule, like playing with a rule set where I would I was used to coming in with speed, coming in hot, and that's, I using that power, and then just having to like push through from like almost a standstill, it was just like, you have to be stronger. You have to, be in a controlled environment, although it's even more challenging because the difficultness of it is just like more strategic. And how am I gonna, finding a hole is a lot harder when you're moving a lot slower and everybody's just together and has their shit together, and you're just like, oh, you're waiting for somebody to mess up. But when you're going fast and, people are like, it's just moving so fast, the music is loud, there's so many distractions. Where is she? You're gone. It's not like that when it's like, people are really paying attention.
Oh, yeah. I think that's one of the hardest things to do for a human too, like going from like wanting to do all, like everything so fast, and then you have to slow down, because that was the first thing that they told me, like, you are going in too fast. You need to be smart and like wait and be patient. And I was like, I'm supposed to jam like that? Like, I'm just used to bolting it and just like figuring it out as I go. And it was way more strategy with Juarez. And I had never seen that. I never experienced that. So I really felt like, oh man, I suck at this. Yeah.
Brand new. Yeah. Brand new. So what was your best derby moment?
Best derby moment? I can say the first time that I attended RollerCon was like, oh my God, I like a whole new world, It was, and I think I can keep saying the same thing about how we learned derby very like careless in a way, as far as like there was no like something very concrete to follow as far as rules. So that's all I knew. And then I went from living that to experience how Derby is like a worldwide known sport. And I never knew that. Like, I never knew it was that big, you know? And when going to RollerCon and seeing all these different people from all over the world and being amazing, I had never experienced like real athletes like that, like the people that we see on, you know, the ESPN. And it was like, wow, they're teaching this, like they're giving classes about this. And I never knew that because in the league that we learned, we never had that. We never had like, oh, we're going to have this guest skater from out of town teach you stops or teach you strategy or teach you anything. So it was like, what the fuck? Like they have workshops for this? Like I didn't know that this was this big and that I could actually get a lot better as far as my abilities by going to this event that I never knew about. I had heard about it, kind of like, but I never thought I would go. And so when I went, it was like, wow, this is awesome.
It is. And so the Derby world was evolving, and where we were at wasn't. And we stayed like in this aquarium of that league, and we felt like we were getting better because we were, but only amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
And there was a whole world out there that was evolving and growing, and it was a monster when we stepped out of the area that we were safely in, you know? So I did go to RollerCon in 2010, I want to say 2011, 2010. And I got to see that, and I did learn, and I remember I brought that to the league. And then before that, we did have a few people come in, and then that seemed to just stop at some point. And I'm not going to say that I know why, but it did. And so it was very refreshing when I had just thought Derby has nothing to offer me anymore. And I did join El Paso Roller Derby, and I wanted nothing to do with it. And I was like, no, I'm busy. I don't have time for that anymore. Been there, done that. And went to a practice. It reminded me of why I first started doing roller derby. And there were boot camps, and there was traveling, and I got to meet everybody, because in the beginning, when we started the league that we were in, we went to bouts. We wanted to see how they were getting, how they were organizing these bouts, and how they would sell merch, and how they would sell tickets, and how they would put together a whole bout with a halftime show, and what people were liking and what they weren't liking. And we did it all in the beginning. We had penalty wheel, and we had, you know, all the stuff, because we were just wanting people to enjoy it, come see us. And then of course it split, because there were, you know, WIFTDA, and then there was us. And then, you know, so it was just different. But this was really refreshing for me, because I felt like I could grow. And that's what we all want eventually. When something starts to when there's no flow, it just gets stagnant. And I was just like, why am I doing this anymore? You know, so I feel like with this break, because of COVID, it's going to be kind of like brand new again. I think that it's going to be like almost like a forest fire, and from the ashes, we'll see what comes back. And there'll be new growth as well, because so many people did go out and get a new pair of skates. So there's that new birth, you know, that new fire, that excited person that's like, hey, well, you know, I was afraid to go to a first practice, but I've been skating for the last 5 months. You know, maybe I will finally go to their fresh meat practice. Or So we'll see what happens.
That's very exciting. I think that after this, we get through this whole uh, pandemic situation, I think it's just gonna be popping. I think it's gonna be
Mhm.
like the best that it's ever been in a long time because of that. Like you said, like so many people have been trying it just to try it, and now that you can probably try this sport that I probably don't know about. So that's really cool that like it's gonna get to, I don't know. I think it's gonna get really a lot bigger than what it was before.
Yeah, and people who might have been taking it for granted will miss it enough to come back.
Yeah, I think it's gonna give time for people to realize if how much they really love it or how much they could take a longer break.
Yeah,
Putting things into perspective. I think
right.
getting
So,
out of
how
it.
are you coping with the pandemic and not being able to do Derby right now?
Finding other things. Like when I had mentioned before that I had set my mind, my heart, and everything on starting Derby again, and then everything got canceled. Well, obviously, I was disappointed, but at the same time, well, I got to find something else. And I, for some reason, some jump roping videos started to pop up in my whatever stuff. YouTube, I think. I don't know, but I started watching jump roping videos. So I got super into jump roping. I mean, I'm not that great or anything, but it's just fun to me to. I like trying things that I see growth in. I think I don't know if that's everybody, but I feel like I like to look at people do awesome things, and especially things that I could do, and then try them. So like jump roping, like there's a lot of people that do like really cool tricks with the rope, and they do these cool jumps and stuff. So I got myself a jump rope, and I try to make it, something I did every day, and I started to do challenges. I did like a couple of like 30-day yoga challenges, and then I did like a thousand jumps a day for jump roping, and then it just became more of a habit, honestly, like after doing those little challenges. So the way that I coped with it, I guess, is finding something else to do because that's not available to me right now, and there's really nothing I can do about it. So rather than feeling, sad or trying to do other things, I don't know, I kind of just look for something else to do. And I gotta be honest, sometimes I didn't do it, and I didn't feel like doing it all the time, but at least something to keep me motivated to stay active, at least physically.
And, finding challenges is what Derby people usually are
Right.
about.
I
Like,
think so, right?
like what's gonna, push me to be my Derby self, right?
Yeah,
Hold
yeah.
on. Do you have any words of encouragement for people right now?
Yes. Well, I don't know. As like you mean as far as like pandemic or like just in general or what?
Yeah, both actually. I mean, we're starting to come out of the embers of this, like,
Right.
so people.
Well, no, yeah, I get you. It's slowly, but it's happening. I can feel it. But
Mhm.
words of encouragement, I don't know. Like you're a valuable person. Like everybody watching, I thank you for taking the time to listen to other people's stories. I think that's very powerful. The experiences that you can relate with, or that maybe you could have, you can avoid something by hearing someone else out. I really appreciate that. So. Um, do things that make you happy, and I hope that this time of isolation has gotten you to know to for has gotten you to get to know yourself better, and hopefully appreciate everything you do have, and the thing and finding out what things you actually want to get into, and um, just do what makes you happy. And thank you, Dee, for doing this because it really is a big help, I think, and to spread the love that is roller derby, the sport, the people, the community, like you said. It's an honor to be a part of it, and I'm super happy to see you like doing what you love. So what I would say to people watching this is be more like Dee, because she's dope and she does what she loves, and that's what everybody should be doing.
Or like this Dee, she's my tocaya, which means same name. I mean,
Get friends that have your name, and then
start with that. Just make friends
be more like them, because they're obviously cool. Have your name.
Because then you're already winning. You're already winning. And then, yeah, and also, you know, try to surround you. Now that you've spent time on your own, think about who you want to spend your time with. And I do spend time with people who are amazing. And it's not that I'm that I won't love the people who aren't who, it's not that I don't think everybody's amazing, but there are people that are good for you and there are people who are not good for you. And so always try to do what's good for you. And if Derby's good for you, then it's coming back soon from what I'm hearing. If your numbers are dropping, I'm very happy for you. Yes.
Yay.
Get some D's in your life.
Right? If you meet a D, you know they're cool. Make sure that you got their number and you're good to go.
If you don't know a D yet,
then you need to start meeting people.
You need to start looking at people you may know on Facebook or friends. Will definitely be your friend.
Don't be too creepy, because
don't. Because the D will block you in a heartbeat.
Well, these D's, we don't take no shit. All right.
No shit. Well, I want to thank you for blessing us with your time, with your stories, with your encouragement, being on the show, being my friend, being my sister. And I love you very much. And thank you so much.
I love you too. And it's my honor. It's an honor to be here. Again, you're rocking it. Everybody be more like me. And love, peace and love. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yay.